country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. And where my fathers lie, land of the pilgrims thrive, from every mountainside, let freedom.
I want to take the opportunity just a moment to recognize Kent Davis, Commissioner for Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs. He has a function that's coming up Friday.
So this Friday, the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce is going to have their Veterans Day celebration. The guest speaker is General Freeman from Maxwell Air Force Base, but we also present an award to a non-veteran every year who has gone above and beyond and done things for the veteran community. It's a surprise too. In fact, we have to get the person there, surprise them at the event, so this person will be surprised when they get the award on Friday. It's a nice event, open to the public. Chamber of Commerce headquarters is on Court Street where it meets the interstate, and everybody's invited to that.
One of our members, one of our new members, Harold Willison. He's seated right over here, and he'll come up in just a moment. He, as you can tell, he has a device that helps him see, and he is going to talk to us about White Cane Month. Now, me being a member of the Lions Club, I'm familiar with White Cane Month, but
Yeah.
there's a microphone.
Oh, I probably won't need the microphone. I'm big mouth. Okay, you told me, and Larry, you be quiet. You told me, I told you I could talk from 2 minutes to 2 hours. Now, what did you decide?
If we could, let's try to keep it to about 25 minutes.
All right. So, somebody look at your watch, and in 25 minutes, wave your hand at me. I'm not gonna see it, but that's okay. Wave at me anyway.
Now remember, he can't see very well either.
I asked her specifically to come and talk about White Cane Day. And so let me just introduce myself briefly. He already did. My name's Harold Willison.
You need to use the mic.
And that's my caregiver back there telling me what the hell to do. I've never used to. Okay, can you hear me there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Army, helicopter pilot. And when they say, you know, what did you do in the war, Granddaddy? I just carried the troops to work. Anyway, I had 2 tours, first in Hueys, and second one I flew in Cranes. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're the big ugly looking things.
Isn't that out in Birmingham?
I think we had a conversation once.
Yes, sir.
And anyway, I got out, went practicing, and about 2000, or just before 2000, I had a detached retina. I had a detached retina in my left eye, and they could not save me, so I'm blind to the left eye. I can see, I'm blind in one eye, I can't see out of the other. 2 years later, the right one detached. Now, so that, I am a blind veteran. Now, what does that mean? Blind. Actually, there's 3 categories of being blind. One is completely blind, I can't see anything. That's my left eye, I'm completely blind in my left eye. One is low vision. That means that technically it means that you have a vision that you cannot correct by using corrective lenses. Okay? And the third one is called legally blind. Now what the, I'm sorry, there's ladies here. What in the world is something that is legally blind? What makes it legal? So you ask a lawyer what legally blind is, he can't tell you. You ask an accountant, he might be able to tell you. You know why? If you are blind, when you do your income tax, you get a deduction. You know, if you've got cancer, you don't get that deduction. If you're quadriplegic, you don't get that deduction. Only a blind man gets a deduction on his taxes. Now, so then somebody says, well, we got to determine what is legal. So they determined that, so that IRS would know, they determined what was legal, and basically it is, my vision is 20/200. That's what mine is. I can see better than Larry can. And I have a, or to be legal, you have to have the, I don't know what the term is, but it's your vision, peripheral vision. And just to show peripheral vision, I want to show you, can you see my hands?
Yes.
I can't, you know. Now, so my peripheral vision is very good. My grandkids have learned that when they do not come up to when I'm talking, because I hit them with my hand. All right, talk a little bit about White Cane Day, or White Cane. This is a white cane. It's not a stick, it's a white cane. And in 1964, Congress passed a bill that said that the president could assign a day to be White Cane Day. And he selected October 15th. And now the whole
Move
month
back to
of
the microphone, honey.
And then, so then they declared that the whole month of October would be White Cane Month. Just barely made it, didn't I? Anyway, so what does a white cane do? Now, for years after I became blind, I refused to use it. And I don't think we're going to have time to go into the VA blind rehab program. That may be another day that we need, or you can buy me a cup of coffee, and we'll spend 2 hours talking about it. But I didn't use it. Back up a bit. I have something I want to really talk about that is not white cane. And we'll come back to white cane. Tell you a little bit about me getting involved with the VA. For 20 years, I wanted a hearing aid because every helicopter pilot you've ever known has a high frequency loss. I needed a hearing aid. Somebody told me, oh, VA will give you a hearing aid. So I went in to see if I started asking about how did I get a hearing aid from the VA? And I would inquire, and I'd run into a brick wall. Now, at that time, if you would have said that I had PTSD, I'd have said, how stupid are you? I'm not crazy. But now I realize that my PTSD would kick in, and I would back up and say, I don't need this stuff. Yeah, walk away. And about 2 years later, I'd finally get my courage back up, and I said, I really need a hearing aid. So I started working on it again. And I back up. And I said, I don't need this shit. I'll walk away. And one day, and there's somebody here probably shouldn't listen to this. But I went to, somebody told me, oh,
Have you seen this?
if you just go to the courthouse down in Prattville, they have a representative that will help you. Okay, good. So I go down there, and this nice lady talks to me, and I walk in, and of course, again,
They've seen
I don't know what to ask. I asked the wrong thing. I walk in and I say, I want to know what my benefits are. And she asked me a few questions, you know, like, what's your name? Were you in Vietnam? And starts asking me, well, do you have this disease, this ailment, this thing? No. Soon realized that what she was doing was she was asking me questions about Agent Orange. I didn't want to know about Agent Orange. I wanted a hearing aid. And she says, okay, I'll get you a DD-214. I can't get you to do anything, but you don't have a DD-214. You need a DD-214. So she applies for it. About 2 weeks later, I got a certificate of service. Because all my records have been destroyed. Some of you have heard about a fire in San Francisco. All right, so I said, well, the hell, she can't do anything for me. I don't need that shit anyway. So I back up. A couple years later, I'm starting to hear again, and I'm saying, you know, I just really need to get me a hearing aid. Go back in. Now we got somebody else in the office, and they go through the same thing. No. Can't do anything for you. So I said, well, third time I go back in. Now there's a gentleman sitting there, and he, you know, and when he started reading those numbers, I had let, you know, those ailments again. I said, sir, I've been through this a couple times. I don't need you to tell me those. Been through them all, and don't have any of them. He said, well, there's nothing I can do for you. So I get up and I'm walking out the door. And as I make a comment to him, I said, you know, all I really wanted was a hearing aid. And he looks at me and he says, sir, I can't help you with that. That's the medical department does that. I do disabilities. For 20 years, I've been trying to find out how in the world do I get hearing aids? How in the world do I get in the VA system? And I still don't know. So I finally started, by this time somebody started to talk to me about they have a really good vision program. You can go to, you know, Rehab, and it's a great program. I said, I'd really like to do that, but I'm not in the system. Finally, I talked to somebody that said, oh, hell, all you gotta do is go to the hospital and they'll sign you up. I'm signing up, and the guy does all the stuff that he needs. He said, okay, I'm gonna make you an ID card. And while we're waiting on the ID card, I say, what I've really been looking for is a hearing aid. He says, oh, you're in the system. While we're waiting on the ID card, why don't you go up to room 106 and get your ID card? I mean, get your hearing aid. A month later, I'm hearing you. Now, here's what my point is to you gentlemen, ladies, the president. I spent 20 years trying to do that. Now, if you call the VA hospital today, they will put you on hold. And while you're listening to that hold for 15 minutes before they hang up on you, ladies and gentlemen, that is my, I know I'm not talking about white kings, but this is one that's really serious to me. While you're sitting there listening to that recording, they tell you things. They start off by telling you your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line. And then they tell you that last year, every day, 20 veterans commit suicide. veterans. And then they say now 6 of them were treated by the VA. Now, I don't know whether they're trying to brag about that or not. You know, I'm not sure I'd like to tell people that people I'm treating are killing themselves every day. But that means there's 14 of them out there, 14 every day, that are not being treated with the VA. Now, why are they not being treated?
Oh, you're right now.
No, they haven't figured out yet how to get in touch with the VA. You've got this guy like me, and he knows he needs help, and he's calling. He's going to the VA rep. He is talking to all his friends, and every time he talks about getting some help, he runs into a brick wall and he says, "To hell with this, I don't need it." He backs up. And he does this about 3 or 4 times. He spent 10, 15 years trying to get some help. And you know what the hell he does? POW!
Yep.
He solves these problems. That's why we have 20 people every day. Now what's my solution to this problem? Very simple. Every one of us in this room, when you see a veteran, ask him if he's in the system. Ask him if he's in the system. If he says, "No, I don't know how to do it," take him by the hand, put him in your car, and drive him down to the hospital.
There you go.
And say, "Brother, I'll help you. Brother, I'll help you." And then, after you get him to the hospital and you got him on the good side, say, "You know, I know a bunch of guys that meet once a month and eat lunch at the Golden Corral. I'd like to take you down there and meet some of them. But if you've not been a veteran that has been overseas and been at war, let's just go have a cup of coffee someday. Let's go have a drink of beer with Larry. You know, and let's just talk. Do that for me, would you?" Now, that's commercial. So that's the white cane. Now, what does this white cane do for me? The first thing it does for me is its identification. When I walk in this building, most everybody here knows that I'm a blind man. But I tell you what I can do with it, with identification. The day before Christmas, I'm going to Walmart. I can put that cane down and start walking down the aisle. It's like parting of the Red Sea. Mom is grabbing kids out of the way. The buggies are backing up. And it's really great. You tell me there's no advantages of being blind? Speaking of advantages of being blind, I always have a designated driver. I still have a driver's license. Larry's got one too, don't you? Don't you, Larry? And one of the second thing is, I don't see any wrinkles in my wife's face. She usually speaks up and says, "But baby, I don't have any." Anyway, that's the first thing that I see. Is identification. People can identify me as being a blind person. The second thing is I can feel. I can tell right there, that's carpeted. Oh, there's a wall right there. That's a chair. And I can identify and tell where things are. Now, of course, I'm just legally blind. I can see, man, that lady there is the most beautiful woman
You got me.
tell you that one of my normal statements is, and there's not, oh, there it is. See that? The waitress? That waitress is the most beautiful woman I've seen all day. Now, usually they speak up and say, oh, thank you. And my response to that is, you know, it was a blind guy telling you.
Way to go, Amber. Hey, thank you, Amber.
Now, when I'm using this cane, I feel, I can tell where things are. The biggest thing, biggest problem I have are curves. Because I don't know, so I have to feel that curve and know. I have to see that obstacle. And so it helps me see obstacles. Now, a lot of you probably seen me around here and you say, oh, he gets around pretty good. I do. The commander was saying that when he introduced me, he was going to come get me. And I wanted to prove to him that I could get up here all by myself. That called Mike into my wife. Mike can do it myself. But the big thing about being able to orientate yourself with the cane, not using the cane, is my mind. You know, I can come in that front door and I know that there's an aisle there. When I get to the end of that aisle, I turn right, and there's going to be some tables here on my right. And then when I get to the end of those tables, there's going to be some plates and stuff in a container. And beyond that is at least one chair. They put a second chair there incidentally. And that's what gets me, is when my wife gets mad at me, she moves stuff around in the house. But once I get to know things, I could probably get out of this building without the cane. Not because I'm thinking about it. You know, steps, depending on the steps, the Applebee's steps are just really bad because they're all brick. And it's brick here and brick here. And so you never know where one ends and the other one starts. I learned to count. I count steps going up. Now, how many of you know how many steps there are coming into this building? Trick question, there aren't any. But I can, I feel for stuff. And I can tell you when I'm walking, when it changes from one thing, one texture to another. I can go from one carpet to another and tell you there's a different carpet here. Because I'm feeling it in my cane.
How does that work for foreplay?
Now, and you may think, I can tell when I've got just an inch rise in a sidewalk. You say, that ain't no big deal. I guarantee you that if you close your eyes, and you walk down a sidewalk, and there's an inch height, you will trip on it. Guaranteed.
Yep.
And so I know where every crack, everything is in it. Example, I went back to rehab after 4 years ago. I'd been in rehab, and they had an orientation. They gave me the cane, and they walked me around the hospital. And I don't know if any of you have been up there, but that's a humongous hospital, a square block. And it was telling me to shut up. Oh. And as I'm walking around, you know, I had orientated myself and knew where I was going. Second time I go up, and my instructor takes me out. He says, okay, we're going to go around the block. I said, let me tell you what I want to do. I said, I want you to just follow me, and you know, I want to show you how to get around this block. We started around the block, and I was telling him everything that we were going to get into. Now, there have been changes in 4 years, but I'm telling him, and I told him, I said, now, when we go around this corner, about 20 feet down, there's going to be a drain cover. And sure enough, it was still there. After 4 years, they still had that drain cover there. But I remembered it after all that time. Now, if you ask me what I ate for breakfast yesterday, I'm not going to tell you. But if you have an obstacle, I can do it. I remember it. So, anyway, does anybody have any questions about white cane use?
I do.
Oh, you gotta pick up now.
There are different white canes, from what I understand.
You know, I didn't know that until I started doing some research into looking into this. The way I understand it, that if it is completely white, you correct me because you're more knowledgeable than I. If it's completely white, it means I'm completely blind. But if I have a red tip on it, it means I can see something. Now
I believe that's right. I think that's right.
and I had never known that. I've never seen a completely white cane. Now, I will tell you that they're making real progress. I mean, you look at it, just probably 10 years ago, the canes were not jointed. You know, they were all solid. This is really handy because I can take this and put it on the table, and you know, and then I just take it. I did that in the police station the other day, and 15 people hit the floor. But it was the progress that they're making. They're now making devices that are avoidance, like your car, when you're backing up and it goes beep, 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 beep.
Right.
Okay? They're making, they're having some problems with it, you know. The other thing that they do, and you know, we're getting now into my next subject matter, which is the blind rehab and the stuff that they give you. Some of you saw the device I had on my head a while ago. It's called a Patriot, and that Patriot I can see. I can see how good looking the commander is.
Don't work very well, does it?
Yeah. But in a nutshell, real quick, when you go to blind rehab, they analyze your situation that you have. All your instruction is individual, and they analyze your situation. Then once they analyze it, they say, okay, what can you do? What do you want to do? What do you like to do? And then let's get you, see what we can do to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. And so then they say, okay, is there some kind of device that we can give you? Well, we'll start off with giving you a cane, showing you how to use it. Then we'll give you a telephone, an iPhone that does all kinds of weird stuff. And my best friend now is called Siri. Some of you know her. You know, I get everything on my phone. My wife made me leave it in the car so it didn't go off in the meeting. But I have books on tape that I get from the Institute of the Blind, it downloads to my phone, which matches up to my VA hearing aid, and I can sit listening to my book in this room and none of you will ever know it. Unless you try to talk to me and I say, what, wait a minute. It does all kinds of stuff, but one of them is GPS and that kind of thing, and they're matching the GPS with the avoidance to the cane. And they're having problems with it, but they're making lots of progress. There's a lot of new stuff out there. I'll bet y'all don't know it. I don't know how many of you go to the VA hospital, but they have in the hospital, you can download an app into your phone that's called, get this down, VA Wayfinder. If you download that, when you go in there, it will tell you how to get to wherever you want to go to. And nobody knows how to use it. I don't know how to use it because nobody knows how to, I've got it downloaded, but, you know. But it'll go to most any larger VA hospital. You can go to Birmingham, you know, if you're going up there and you say, I need to go to X-ray, it'll tell you how to get there. And anyway, that's just, but there's a lot of new things that they're doing. And if I can plug the Lions Club, a lot of this support has been coming from the Lions Club. And anyway, any other questions?
Can I make a comment on something you said earlier?
Yes.
A very serious topic. It is a serious topic, is veteran suicides.
Yes.
We're at epidemic proportions in this country, and I always throw this statistic out. I may have mentioned it here before. So since 9/11, we've lost a little over 7,000 service members in combat. Since 9/11, we have lost 120,000 of our brothers and sisters to suicide. How's that for a comparison? You know, people understandably get upset about combat deaths, but you look at those numbers, there are two things in the last year that have come out to help fight this battle. One is the 988 crisis number. Any veteran, any friend of a veteran, any family member of a veteran can pick up the phone and dial 988. You're instantly screened. Are you a veteran? You dial 1 and you're connected with services. Here's even more important. Within the last few months, everybody's heard of the PACT Act. There's a new act out called the Compact Act, which allows veterans to bypass the whole VA system. If you, as a veteran, or you know a veteran who is in crisis and is feeling suicidal, major depression, you can now go to any provider. Tell that provider that you're a veteran. They bill the federal government and will treat you, including inpatient services. Brand new federal law, an important tool for veterans, and we need to spread the word about the Compact Act. If you look it up, Google it, it'll give you the details on that. Those are two.
Before one of our guests has to leave today, I wanted to recognize Jeff Newton. He is the Assistant Commissioner for the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs. He's the guest of Admiral Davis. U.S. Air Force. If you will, just quickly tell us a little bit about your military service.
Yeah, 41 years, 6 days. Started off enlisted, so I'm a Mustang. And I got commissioned in 1989, and so I went from E1 to 07 in my career. Finished up with a state military department here in Montgomery. Yep.
Thank you so much for being with us. Now, if I remember, are you a VFW member?
Yes, 12185.
12185. So he's a current VFW guy. So
Good guy. Seriously.
thank you for being. They've got to get to an appointment.
There you go.
They've got to get to a meeting, so they've got to rush out. But thank you so good to have you with us today.